Hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome to the Fitter Philosophy channel here on YouTube, where I share some time-served apprenticeship of life style of philosophy to help you to re-examine, redefine, recalibrate and reconnect with your own personal philosophy. Because as much as the Greek philosophers, Chinese sages and Indian gurus are very, very useful and well worth listening to, the most important person that we need to listen to is ourselves. And one of the ways that we can improve the calibre of communication is to invest in ourselves. It's not necessarily expensive, sure. You can spend some money and it'll get you a certain distance, but most of this is free. And one of the great investments, which literally is free of charge, is investing in happiness. So I'm doing this investment series, which you'll find if you do a search in the play, what are they called? I've completely forgotten. Anyway, within the channel there's certain sections, subdivisions, and they're clearly marked and identified for categories. So when you look under investments, you'll find this video along with about a dozen others probably. And this particular subject is happiness, investing in happiness, how to do it. Because it seems strange that we live in a world where people may not have very much, but they seem to be quite happy and contented and getting on in life with a fair degree of positivity and contentment, and just they are happy. And then you have people who on the surface of it seem very well provisioned. In fact, they may seem rich, big house, big cars, big holidays, big this, big that, big ego, and they're not happy. They find ways of ignoring the reasons to be happy that are delivered to them, that they have got, and they're dwelling on the negativities and they empower that negativity. And they are not investing in happiness. They are investing in unhappiness because they're foolish, ungrateful, and they are at war with themselves. There are many people in this world who are at war with themselves, and they don't even know why, because they've never stopped to look and listen and learn from themselves. But we can learn from them. And to understand what happiness is, all you have to do is look at someone who is miserable, ungrateful, nasty, negative. You won't have to search far before you find them. And it's worth people watching. It's a great thing to do. It doesn't cost a penny. You can sit in a coffee shop or in a park or sit in a bar, because when people are drunk they always tend to be more honest with others and less honest with themselves. It's just a part of the human condition. And so many of these negative people, they don't even start to invest in happiness. They just reach out to be happy. And that's a big mistake. If you want to invest in happiness, you do not do things to be happy, because being happy is a conclusion to what you're investing in, not a cause of investment. It's understanding, knowing ourselves, what makes us happy. Is it some peace and quiet? Is it a modest life? Is it a specific hobby? Is it travelling around the world? If these make you happy, then invest in them methodically without overstretching yourself and getting into debt. And understand that happiness is a conclusion, but it's not the nature to be happy all the time. Take a step down. Be content. Because within contentment there is a lot of happiness. And contentment isn't a pursuit of happiness in its own right. It's allowing a certain situation to evolve through a personal experience of life, to know, importantly, what doesn't make us content. Could be excessive debt, poor quality friends, aggressive family, unresolved issues within ourselves, poor health, poor physical health, troubled mental issues. These all add up, and nobody should know ourselves better than we know ourselves. And forget the professionals. They have their purpose, they have their place, they can be useful in assisting. But ultimately, it is investing in ourselves in the pursuit of all things. That is where we discover happiness. And I'm going to give you some practical advice here. Never be afraid of unhappiness. Never try to shun it. Embrace it. Examine it. Work with it. Get to know it. It's like depression. It's like a feeling of failure. When you know these negativities, when you feel it in your head and know it in your heart, you're clearly identifying exactly what they are. And when you know what something is, you also know what it is not. And one of the best ways to invest in happiness is to understand the distress of negative misery, self-hating, disappointment, depression. Depression is there for a purpose. The problem is when it becomes too powerful because it's not been addressed. And one of the best mechanisms that we have for addressing the negativities that cloud our life and obstruct the sunshine of happiness is to cope. And coping isn't just getting on with it. It is stepping aside, examining the situation, breaking it down and analysing it, and then putting things into place that can amend that negative situation. And the more we practice coping, the more we can cope. And one of the big mistakes people make is they abdicate the sense of coping to say, I need help, I need this, I need that. And the last thing that they accept that they need is they need to take responsibility and take charge of their own lives. It's a very insidious and dangerous route to go down. Professionals and supports and charities have their place, and they can be very, very helpful. Very helpful. But most importantly is keeping that in context and not letting people possess and redefine what happiness is to you. My goodness, you can see it in the media and in society around us. Get a fast sports car, get a second home, have an exotic holiday in Europe, go on a fancy cruise in the Caribbean. These will make you happy. Yeah, sure they will, briefly. But it's like a kid with a toy. Once the novelty wears off, people move on. Adults are just kids that have grown up a bit. Real happiness, real happiness is being at peace with oneself and not needing all these applied status symbols and distracting influences in our life that society around us and others tell us that we need to have. Listen to your heart, because the heart is inseparable from the rest of us. Our heart is our own, and when we combine it with our mind and heart working together, rationally, cool and collectively, moving from the negative to the positive, I guarantee you will find more and more happiness, and the companions of happiness, which are contentment, security, ease, peace, positivity. Looking into this traumatic world around us, and suddenly, beyond the headlines of all the negativity, is seeing the profound and substantial beauty of this planet and of the universe, which is far, far greater, far greater than the negativities. I'm Ralphie. I'm going to leave you with this pretty little view of a cottage somewhere in the country. It's a peaceful place, a great place for a retreat. And I recommend that you plan at some point in your life to go on a retreat. I'll do a video about it at some point. And thanks for watching. I shall leave you, gainers, with the view. I'm Ralphie. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you liked it, click like, subscribe, and you might like to follow me on my whiskey channel, ralphie.com. Yeah, this is my other channel. Or maybe my whiskey channel is the other channel. It depends. Bye-bye.